Computer. Okay. Well, we have another DM Dad and Son where it's actually a trio because we've got Abigail with us. Say hi, Abigail.
Hi.
Awesome. And the reason that we're doing this video is we're basically going to do a bit of a recap because of our D&D session that we played just yesterday on Sunday, November 19th, 2023. And so it was kind of a rare opportunity where Dad took some time and we did some classic D&D. So what did we play? Well, we were playing um, the basic expert Moldvay um, uh, BX D&D. Essentially, what we were playing was old school essentials. We were using the old school essentials books, but that's essentially the game we were playing, and we were playing what is actually a very famous module, and it's called Keep on the Borderlands. So, what's your guys' first impression of Keep on the Borderlands?
A lot of fun for me.
Yeah,
Really fun.
Yeah.
and what was fun about it?
Um, I really liked how we started out and how the storyline went and stuff.
I got to do funny voices.
That was Josh's favorite part.
Yeah, so like I said,
Yes.
this is a very famous module, and it is, it's been played a lot. So I didn't record the whole thing, right? I'm gonna be showing some snippets of our gameplay, and that's all I had the bravery to record. And part of that was because I was kind of reluctant to show faces, but another part was um, it's such a played module that a lot of people have seen this, and I didn't want everyone to see how much of a fumble bum I was through the whole through the module, uh, because of it was my first time running uh, old school essentials, and I had to consult the rule book multiple times, and um, you know, it was just a little rocky from my perspective. But how was it for you guys?
Super fun.
Yeah.
Cool. So
I
kids
thought
don't
everything
usually
ran
notice.
smoothly.
Awesome. I'm glad it felt that way to you guys. I really am. What I watch for is when people start like they start kind of the conversation starts wandering, and maybe they start kind of fumbling with their pencil or whatever, and things that indicate that they are losing focus, because that means I've lost them and I got to recapture them again, right? Um,
Yeah.
so anyway, yeah. So this is the cover of the module. It is um, super iconic. It was, I think, this is what you're seeing is a battle at the Caves of Chaos. Is drawn by an artist named Rosloff. He actually he the Dungeon Crawl Classics game book rule book that I have is dedicated to him because he died. I guess when that printing of the DCC book was made. So that's kind of cool. And there's actually a really cool picture that he did right there in the DCC book. But this is kind of where all this stuff began, right? Here with these early modules for D&D. It's called B2 because it is the second module for basic Dungeons and Dragons, right? So B2. That's why it's called that. Basic 2. And it was written by Gary Gygax, who is the creator of Dungeons and Dragons, a co-creator with Dave Arneson. But he really kind of carried the brand along and made it into what it became. And not to discount Dave Arneson. Dave Arneson came up with a tremendous amount of what we just take for granted as basic rules. Dave Arneson was the brainchild for a lot of that. But Gary Gygax kind of turned it into this brand, and he wrote it. He wrote this module, this adventure that we're playing, and it's like I said, super famous. So like a lot of people have played through this module. So I'm gonna just go ahead. Any comments before I click run on this?
I thought the art was super pretty on that, and like the artist did a really great job. And yeah, that's really cool how they made that all up.
Yeah, it's kind of got this iconic like magenta cover on it. I wonder if that's because the basic box that the Moldvay first, basic rules came in was like a magenta color. I wonder if that was kind of an influence. But anyway, this is what it is, and I happen to have a physical copy of this, which I'm super glad that I have. It's kind of a little bit more beat up, but I wasn't the first owner. So it just kind of landed into my hands. Like I kind of just inherited them. This and along with like Advanced Dungeons and Dragons manuals and stuff like that. So lucky to have them. But I'm actually playing it, so I guess I didn't really foresee actually going through and running it for my kids in the future, but here I am doing it, which I'm very satisfied to be able to do. Um, now I'm going to go ahead and hit run, and then we can kind of talk about what we see here. Adventuring party's having trouble getting into the keep, aren't you?
Yeah, because of him.
Yeah, because they brought a half orc with you, and they're immediately on edge. Okay, so first of all, who's playing with us here? We've got Josh on the right, and then we got three players on the left, which is Abigail's in the corner over here, and then we
I had a
got
plate full of chicken strips that I almost single-handedly ate to myself.
yeah,
That was way too many. You got a mountain.
they look delicious. I actually stole some from you. And then we have McKay, who was you know right here, and then little Katie, and they were well, I guess let's talk about the characters, right? So, who was your character? Josh, do you want to explain your character?
So my character is a half orc named Hadak, and he's got a funny voice that kind of sounds like this. And he ain't that smart and he ain't that pretty, but he's good at hitting things with big things.
And no offense to any Australians out there, but Josh just feels like a half orc has to have an Australian accent. So, um, and yes, he played in character with the accent the whole time. So that happened. Um, and now Abigail, tell us about your character.
Well, my character was an assassin, and yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, actually, and I should say we were uh there is no assassin character in basic and expert. So what we were actually playing in actual fact was the advanced fantasy version of old school essentials. So it kind of pulls in different elements of advanced Dungeons and Dragons, like a few extra classes, like an assassin, for instance. You could be a bard or a ranger or a barbarian and stuff like that. So just some illusionist, different options. And you chose to be an assassin, which should be pretty fun. So an assassin is, it's kind of like an offshoot of a thief, but it's a little bit more combat kill kind of oriented rather than like skill oriented. Is that a good way to describe it, Abigail, do you think?
Yeah, I think that's a really good way to describe it.
Cool. And then also we had your little brother here, and what was his character? You guys want to describe his character?
He was a fighter named Trevor.
Yeah, a fighter named Trevor who was basically the meat shield.
Yeah. That's right. And I think, and he drew a little picture on his character sheet. Everybody did actually, which was
Did you
great. And
take a picture of his picture?
I didn't, but I've got it in front of me right now. But
You
it's
should have taken pictures.
yeah, I know. They're pretty cute, the little kids' drawings. And yours was nice, actually, Abigail. I liked yours. Um, um, and then we've got your little sister here. So, what about her character? Do you know anything about hers?
Wasn't she like a paladin?
Yeah, she was a paladin named Sally. She wanted to be called Sally, and she drew us the cutest little picture of a, little girl with a sword and stuff like that. It's so cute. But yeah, so when I described what a paladin was, I was going through the list of what she could be, and she kept saying no, 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 no. And I said you could be a paladin. She's like, "What's a paladin?" I'm like, "Well, it's like a holy knight." He's like, "I want to be a holy knight." Okay, all right. So I was just glad that she decided to pick something. Um, but anyway, just like I had described in the video, there it was a little bit rough going at the beginning, wasn't it? Because you guys didn't look like you were even going to be able to get into the keep. And why was that?
Because of Josh.
And why
Josh
is that?
Because of Josh.
Yeah, I know. But what about Josh?
Because he was a half orc.
Yeah, he was a half orc, and so there was some hostility there. Uh, the people in the keep were not too keen on what they were calling an orc, coming coming up to their gate, right? Because they're on the borderlands, they're fighting off orcs. They were very suspicious. And then, not to mention, so that right off the bat was like a big problem. And then at the same
Because them
time,
blokes don't know how to tell the difference between me and one of them bloody greenskins.
I hope you didn't just swear right there.
No, I said bloody.
No, no, before you said blokes.
Them.
Oh, them?
Yeah,
THEM? Okay, good.
them with a D.
All right, good. All right. Anyway, yeah, so and then to add to that difficulty, you had like kids who like McKay who thought he was or sorry, I'll use his character name. You had kids like Trevor the fighter who was trying to be smart, but like kind of digging a deeper hole, trying to be
Yeah.
coy and like lie in order to get in, but it was like silly
Oh
lies.
my gosh,
And
he
so,
said the stupidest things.
yeah, do you remember some of the things he said to try and get into the keep?
He goes something like, "Hey guys, we're just picking up a cat for dinner," or something like that.
Yeah. Um, yeah. But anyway, like I had to kind of basically hand wave it to indicate that, okay, well, you guys made it in by the skin of your teeth through the I called it customs, but it was like through the gatekeepers, right? So that you could get inside, but it wasn't without incident. So let's go ahead and start the video again. Kind of describes a little bit about what happens next. Okay. Okay, what's all right? So after
Why would they be suspicious of a 6'4", 200-pound mountain of muscle with long, greasy hair and snarling teeth?
well, you understand there are orcs in the Borderlands and they're hostile, right?
I was making a joke.
So right, I know that, but like just for context for these other little kitties, right? So you're traveling with a half orc, and they just kind of think he's a full orc, or they haven't really made much of a distinction because they're not in the habit of mating with orcs, so they wouldn't really have a lot. You guys hear it okay? Seems like it's quite. Gee, yeah,
It's pretty
super quiet.
quiet, but
All right, so I'm turning it up. Okay, I'm gonna run that back here a little bit. we'll just run that
a
again.
half orc, and they just kind of think he was a full orc, or they haven't really made much of a distinction because they're not in the habit of mating with orcs, so they wouldn't really have a lot of experience with that necessarily.
So what I'm saying is Josh is mistaken for an orc because he's a half orc. And so there's some obvious hostility when you're trying to enter the keep for the first time.
The guards, right? So, okay. Anyway, anything else you want to say to the guards?
We're nice people. He's only a half orc, so you're half good.
Okay. All right. So, let's assume that you guys have cleared the customs. Okay. So you were able to explain yourselves. Look, we're an adventuring party. He's just a half orc. He's been our friend for a long time. He's a little rough around the edges, but he's trustworthy and that kind of thing. So you're now able to move about in the keep freely, but Josh, you are returned from the bailiff's tower, and you lose a hit point because you were roughed up pretty bad.
Yeah.
Okay.
Of course.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So what happened to Josh?
I got beat up in prison.
Yeah, he lost a hit point.
Yeah, Haydak was he was detained when you were brought into the city gates, and he was taken to the bailiff's tower, interrogated. They beat him up a little bit, so he lost a hit point. But they
Good thing he
ultimately
didn't decide to fight back because he's probably stronger than most of them.
well, there was too many. You would have died just by the numbers. But yeah, and also you guys are all inexperienced. Your first level characters. You've just traveled straight out of the realm. You're all really green. The realm, it's called, is kind of like civilization to the west, and you've come out east to the borderlands, and that's where the keep is. So, yeah. Anyway, that was a little bit fun. What do you guys think of my Dungeon Master screen?
Nice.
Yeah, it's really cool.
It's homemade. I got the PDF version of the old school Essentials Dungeon Master screen, thinking that I'll just do this. I'll get them laminated, and then I'll just tape them together with packing tape, and we're good. And it works. But after all was said and done, spending all that money doing that, it was pretty close to just buying the Dungeon Master screen professionally printed already. So I kind of wish that I would have done that, but it is what it is.
It's super cool, yeah.
Sorry, I'm just taking some video.
All right, so here we're much more advanced in the game. What has happened at this point?
Combat.
Yeah, we're in combat. That's right. But a couple of things. First of all, you've secured for yourself a map of the wilderness, which you can see right there.
I think
Right.
that's the map. Oh yeah, that's the map of the wilderness. Don't we have a map of did we say that yet? A map of the keep?
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, there's a map of the
Oh.
keep, and I believe that
Okay.
one is right here. Right.
This is where I earn the most EXP because I'm very good at fighting.
Yeah, he got like 25.
Yeah. Did you say EXP?
XP, yeah.
Yeah. Whatever. So yeah. Yeah, so you guys actually you did a good job. You lasted a while. Now, so you got two maps, you had to pay for them, right? You had to pay for your lodgings in the keep. So that's one of the things I find really interesting about basic expert is like, it's very detailed in the rules are simple, but they're, you have to keep track of things and you deplete your resources. It's a resource management game, right? Because you have a certain amount of gold, you have a certain amount of rations to eat and things like that. And you have to manage these things in order to make it through, right? And so you have used your resources in the way that you thought would be best, and you secured some maps, which was I was trying to kind of lead you into doing that, and that way I didn't have to keep drawing out what you see. You could just go by your map, and it just made it a lot easier. So um also you picked up a retainer in the tavern, didn't you?
Yes,
Yeah,
You want to talk
I had
about
to
that
buy him a
experience?
dagger.
Mr. Wizard Man.
I had to buy him a dagger, and I'm still mad at him. He's like, "Oh, I need a dagger now."
Yeah, he asked for a dagger. And basically, when you have a retainer, you're responsible for paying for their
Everything.
equipment. Yeah, their equipment and their food while you're adventuring, and things like that. So you pay for their stuff that they're gonna need. And he was telling you that, yeah, I think I need a dagger. So you bought him a dagger. Actually, in hindsight, it would have been good if you guys would have bought him a sling. He could have used a sling to
He could have.
basically stand back and throw rocks at people.
I don't
Um,
know,
That's why I got a sling.
but okay, I was thinking we might should kill him off so we can get our money back. Because if
well,
we kill him, we can take his money, right?
well, okay, you can, but keep in mind that the way you treat your retainers will get around, okay? And then it's going to be very hard to hire retainers in the future if you aren't treating them properly, right?
True.
Um, so I just a word to the wise there. All
No
right,
one
so
will know if they can't find the body.
yeah,
He just went to another town. Haven't seen him in a while.
Oh, the crocodiles ate him.
The
I
crocodile.
didn't eat him, the crocodiles did.
well, okay. I was thinking about making like a custom kind of like a little bit compulsory that if your retainer dies, then when you make it back to wherever your home base is, which in this case is the keep, you have to report it, and you have to donate a certain amount of money or whatever to his whatever family, right? And then you just leave it with the bank or something and see to it that it gets sent to them or whatever. That way, and that might be like an accepted custom, you know, um, to kind of honor the job and the risks involved. But so just keep that in mind. All right. So
Yeah.
what else are we looking at right
What
here?
else are we looking at?
Yeah.
Um, right here in this screen. I'm pretty sure. Is that McKay that's the only one fighting out there?
It's Katie and me.
It's Kitty and you. Where's McKay then?
He's with you guys.
Hmm?
Yep.
Okay. So what we were looking at here basically was um, you had started on your way to the caves of chaos, and then you made it probably about a third of the way down the road, and that's what this blue line is, and your red marker there is indicating the party's location. So I was just kind of like doing that, and I happened to roll for a random encounter, and guess what, like the chances were only 1 in 6, but it landed on the one, and so you guys had a random encounter with orcs, and so I rolled up some orcs, and there we were. So you had 5 orcs, and they were basically flanking you. So this was supposed to be the road, so you were on the road here. This is kind of like a zoomed in version of what this red is indicating here. So this zoomed in version shows you on the road with your party. Here's your retainer. His name is Zapyros. He's He's the first level magic user with the single spell to of protection from evil. So, and then the rest of your party's kind of lined up on the road here, and or was anyway, because right now we have Sonny. This is your character here, your half orc, and you're
Not proper
engaging.
visual representation.
Yeah, yeah, that's actually a lizard man, but it does for a half orc. That's fine. So, and you're engaging directly in melee combat with an orc right there,
And
and
winning.
then, yeah, you guys did well. Although Josh came off wounded from that experience. And then who's this? Do you guys remember?
Hades.
Yeah, so that is Sally the Paladin, and she actually killed an orc herself as well. And this orange marker is actually an orc archer, right? So he was kind of keeping his distance, and he was the last to die. All right, well let's play the video and see what we say.
Sorry, what did you roll, bud?
10 plus 3, so 13.
13? Awesome. So I'll consult my chart.
All right, we're fighting the orcs, so that means armor class and this. That's a hit.
All right, that's a hit, Sonny.
So, what we
5 damage. Nice work. So they were traveling along the road to the Caves of Chaos. And they were
okay. So I'm just gonna, before I go into that recap, I'm gonna rewind this a little bit and take a look at the table here. So this is actually how the 2 hit is figured out, like, or the whether or not you hit your opponent is figured out in old school, and this is called descending armor class. So what the deal is with that is you start out just naked normal guy, well, not naked, but like just wearing normal clothes. You have an armor class of 9, right? And the lower your armor class gets, the better. And so there's a little bit of a trick to figuring out shorthand what the roll is that you need to hit. So, because you have what's called THAC0, right? That's what this is, right? So if you have a THAC0 of 19, then and your opponent has an armor class of 6, then you need a 13 to hit them, is what this is saying, right? So now the orcs had an armor class of 6. So this is how it used to work. Like, well, yeah, I mean, this is how descending armor class does work, right? So it's all based on a matrix, right? A matrix is a table where you have, values that are, in this table, and you've got values on the side and the top that kind of determine what's in the table. So you have basically armor class across the top, and down the side here you basically got THAC0, so whatever your THAC0 is, or what your hit dice is as a monster. So Josh, I think you rolled a 14 or something like that, and you probably had some bonuses to hit, and so that was greater than the required 13, and so you easily hit the orc that time. Cool. Any questions about that?
That's cool.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like a multiplication table?
Well, it kind of feels like one, but it doesn't work like that. It actually the numbers just kind of count down, and so you have like this number going from big to small, right? And this number going from small to big. And so wherever they meet, so this is the armor class, right? So it has an armor class of 6, and your character has a 19 at armor class 0, like, so they need a 19 to hit a creature with a 0 armor class. This is basically the line that you're going to be looking at.
Cool.
So to determine like what role you need. And actually, even on your character sheets, and we'll look at the character sheets before we sign off, but on your character sheets, the THAC0 stuff is all at the bottom. So, all right, cool. I'm gonna run this again, and then we can kind of see what we say.
All right, that's a hit, Sonny.
5.
5 damage. Nice work. So they were traveling along the road to the Caves of Chaos. They were ambushed by orcs. And they are fighting for their lives.
Cool. All right, so that was basically all the footage that I got. And like I said, like I was a little self-conscious because of, my abilities as a DM. And this is such a popular module. I knew that there was going to be a lot of people that would be like, "Hey, man, you're doing it wrong. Like, who do you think you are with a YouTube channel?" And I'd be like, "I don't know," so that's kind of anyway. That is, but we had a great time, didn't we, guys?
Yeah.
It's super
And
fun.
and yeah, and we're gonna play again. Actually, little Katie asked me today. She's like, "Dad or Daddy," I'm like, "What is it, sweetie?" And she's like, "When will we play D&D?" And I said, "Oh, sweetheart, well, I've got to do some painting tonight, but we'll do it later this week, okay?" Okay. So she's excited to keep playing. So let's take a look at our character sheet. So I actually made this character sheet in Excel, and this is what you guys are using. I switched this out. It used to here, I'm gonna go like this so that you're not kind of distracted by stuff off to the side, but it prints out and looks kind of like this. I did modify some things a little bit. I put a spot here where you can put your class title. So I don't know if you guys are aware, but every class has like a title that you can use. So, if you're a fighter, you have like a title of what you're called, depending on what level you're at. Or same thing with a magic user, you know. So when you reach like 9th level as a magic user, you're a wizard, So that kind of thing. So it's just kind of so you can put your class title on there. For instance, a cleric, a first level cleric is an acolyte, right? So you would put acolyte here if you were a cleric. And I've got all of the the modifiers here. I did kind of have a thing here for spell points in case we decided to do spell points, although what we're doing right now is we're actually following the Vancian Magic convention for now. But I just kind of put that on there. What do you guys think of the coin section? Is it easy to understand?
Yeah,
Yeah, for me it is.
I thought it was easier.
Yeah,
I'm not
because
very
like
good at math.
I think you're fine. But yeah, I put it 2 ways so that it was like easy to grasp for the person calculating. But yeah, so basically you have the ratio here, and that should help you to be able to figure out, how much a silver piece is in relation to gold pieces, which is really kind of your standard, right? And then down here is it's expressed in like a different way. Okay, so 100 copper pieces is the same as 10 silver pieces. It's the same as 2 electrum pieces, same as 1 gold piece, like that. And also here's gold pieces that you have in the bank. So when you deposit them in the bank, they just go in as gold pieces, right? And it's my intention to have a very well developed banking system in our campaign, because basically I think that in a world like this where you would be adventuring, and you can't carry all that gold, and you basically are trying to amass a vast amount of treasure, you would need the services of warehousing your gold, right? And
Yeah.
that's what banks originally did. It was a warehouse for your gold, your money, and they would give you a note, which would be a piece of paper, which would indicate your ownership of how much gold you owned, right? And so eventually they would start to trade those notes around as though it was gold because it had a value to it because you could trade it in at the bank and get real gold for it. So that's kind of how the paper money became in use, right? Now
That would
nowadays,
suck if you lost your note.
yes, because that's the same as losing your gold. Absolutely, yeah, because it shows your ownership. You just bring it to the bank, you redeem it for gold, and that's it's proof of ownership. Um, and the word bank actually comes from the Italian word bench, because you would come to the guy who's sitting at a bench and you would deposit your gold. And yeah, that's kind of an interesting history about money and economics and things like that, which I enjoyed. But here's your saving throws. Do you like how it's like I tried to put little graphics and stuff in there that were relevant to like the section, you know? So
Yeah.
we got coins for the money, you got the bank thing, you got the clover for your savings throws because you're lucky, right?
Yeah.
You got hearts for hit points, got some magic hands for your spell points if we end up using that. A helmet for armor and a shield for your armor class, right? So you actually write your armor class in this blank side of the shield, so that's kind of fun. And you got this little guy silhouette, like a bust, for your attributes, because that's kind of who you are as a person, right?
Yeah.
And then, you got your spells or special abilities. So here's where you would put in, like, if you're a magic user, this is where you put your spells. If you're a thief, this is where you put your thief skills, and on and on. If you're a fighter and you have some kind of special attack or something like that, you would put it in here, right? And this is basically your knapsack, your book, your backpack, and then I have a column to calculate the weight of everything. So everything that has weight has a column that you could calculate the weight. And then you calculate it at the bottom, here, here, and here. There's only 3 things you need to add up then, and that's your encumbrance. So here's your encumbrance section right here. Your total weight, you write that in there. And then your movement per turn or per round. And this becomes relevant when you are traveling in the wilderness, or when you are traveling in a dungeon is when it's really most relevant. So yeah, anyway, and then here at the bottom, this is your thaco, right? So I don't know if you guys did, but you can write your thaco right here, which would be 19. And then you go ahead and you write in your numbers across here. So this is the armor class of the monster. So if you happen to know what the monster's armor class is, then you know what value you need to roll to hit them.
Cool. I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I read that there.
Yeah, there's just, the part about the game that you kind of learn. So anyway, that's our character sheet. Like I did it in Excel, and I guess it's not as cool as like some of the fancy character sheets that guys will do, where they'll just kind of draw it out and make like they'll put like all kinds of creatures on it, or swords and things like that, and just make it really cool. And I thought I could totally do that because I am artistic, but I didn't really want to go to the effort when I could do this a lot easier. And also I could make changes easily, like I did already, right? Because I added this class title because, hey, that's something I didn't think of. And as I was filling out character sheets for retainers and stuff like that to prepare for our campaign, there was stuff that I realized, you know what? I really should do this instead. And in fact, this, I'm actually going to take that out because I don't know why I had learn spell in there. because I think it's just additional languages that is going to be the relevant thing there. So I'll check on that, but I think that it's the only bonus that you get for higher intelligence as far as an attribute modifier is you get to learn additional languages or know additional languages, I guess. But your charisma, that sorry, go ahead, sweetie.
Oh, you can keep talking.
Oh yeah, I was just gonna say your charisma is actually a lot more important than people would think. Like that's like how likable you are essentially, but um it's actually really important because it affects, you know, what type of reactions you get out of non-player characters. Also the maximum number of retainers that you can hire and the morale that those retainers will have.
So it's a good thing I have a charisma of 5.
Yeah. Yeah, Josh. Yeah, Sonny rolled really low on charisma. Anyway, so that is the character sheet. So that's why it's kind of built out the way it is, and it's very serviceable.
Yeah, that
So,
character sheet's really cool.
oh, thanks,
And
sweetie.
yeah, I really like the little graphics. They're really cute.
Yeah, thank you. And I kind of wanted to, honor both brands here, like kind of pay homage to both on the character sheet. So I got both logos on there. Fun.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, anything else you guys wanted to say about our B2 adventure, our first session of Keep on the Borderlands, and
I
our
think that was
first session of Old School Essentials / Basic Expert? Go ahead, sweetie.
yeah, I think that was really fun. It was really cool. I really like how the plot played out. And the first fight was really cool.
Awesome. Well, there's more where that came from. So we're going to have a lot of fun with it. And this is a low level adventure. So, like it says, it's introductory for characters level 1 to 3. So we're going to play it out and we're going to get experience. We're going to climb up. And then I think I want to take us into uh, Greg Gillespie's Barrow Maze or something like that. Okay.
Yeah.
I just wanted to cut our teeth on something that I knew we were going to be able to handle and that was kind of iconic, as far as like original D&D. So this was kind of the clear choice, and I already had the modules, so thought I would use it.
Yeah. Super cool.
All right,
Excited
guys.
to play it.
Oh yeah, me too. And I think hopefully we'll get a lot of time over Christmas and stuff, and when we go away on our vacation after Thanksgiving, maybe I'll bring the game along with us and we can play a little bit at our resort.
All right.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Awesome, guys. Well, let's wrap it up. Talk to you. Well, I mean, we live in the same house, but I mean, we'll talk to the viewers soon. Our like 10 people that watch our channel. Thanks for watching. All right. Awesome. Thanks. Bye-bye.